Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm Sarah if you're new here. I make a video about once a week all about beauty, makeup, skincare, body care, any of that. And I'm really focused at this kind of phase of my life of things like shop my stash, project panning, and just kind of being more mindful about overall consumption of kind of self-care and beauty products. So with that in mind, today's video is going to be the update for the month of July for my project pan and my eyeshadow project pan. So I'm working on 5 makeup items at a time, and I'm either trying to completely use that item up or hit pan on it. It just depends on what goal I set for that when I roll it in. And then I'm also working on 5 eyeshadows, and that can come from any eyeshadow palette that I have put into my spreadsheet. And the goal in that project is to hit pan on the shadows. So I'm trying to increase my pan percentage and just get more use out of my eyeshadow palettes in general. So if you want to see an update on the makeup items I've been using and the eyeshadow progress, then just keep watching. So let's start with the makeup items first. The first item I'm going to talk about is my CoverGirl pressed powder, the Clean Fresh pressed powder. Again, I still feel like maybe it's not looking terribly different, but I also feel like even though there's still a lot going on here, I feel like it's almost time to repress this. It is kind of getting a little bit of hard pan on the top every now and then. So I've done the Scotch tape method, but part of me is like, maybe if I just repress it and kind of put it more in the middle and make it even, I'll get a better distribution on my brush. But in the month of July, I used this powder 22 times. So we will just keep going. I think this is more of a long haul item than I thought it was going to be, but I just really am not picking up a lot every time I use it, but I still want to try and finish this up by the end of the year. Next is my ColourPop highlighter in Lunch Money, and I used this 11 times in July. And again, I feel like this is a product where a little goes a long way, so I'm not seeing a ton of like panned expansion because everything's kind of on the edges. And I also feel like this is one where I might try and repress it more in the middle, so it's just easier to kind of get my finger in there because that's usually how I apply it. It's getting a little difficult with it being around the edge. So I think I might repress that for next video, but this is one where I knew when I rolled it in that it was probably going to take me the entirety of 2025, but I think it will be well worth it in the end. I do really like this highlighter. I think it's a really great mixture of like a champagne shade, and sometimes it can lean more gold, sometimes it can lean a little more silver depending on the look and like lighting and stuff, so I really do enjoy that. It's also a very affordable highlighter, and it's kind of got that cream to powder feel in it, which is just kind of fun and nice. So we will just keep plugging along on this. Like I said, I might repress this along with that CoverGirl powder for the next video and just see what kind of difference that makes. Next, I have my 2 lip products. So I have my Makeup Forever Aqua Lip in 3C. It's staying very tiny. I think maybe I sharpened it once, barely, but we're right at Aqua and Aqua Lip on the label. So still gonna take me a while, but I've been pretty consistent in using this. I used this 17 times in July, and also 17 times with use is the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in Primrose. This is one where it's just I'm never gonna be able to track like the actual usage until it gets to the point where I'm seeing clear in the ClickUp portion of the pen. But I do think that it is feeling lighter and lighter every month, so I feel like I've got to be close. So every time that it's time to click it up to get some more product out, I'm always like, is this the time? Am I gonna see the clear coming through? And nothing yet, but we will just keep going. That lip combo though is actually really nice for every day. It's what I'm wearing right now, and it's just like that perfect neutral pink color, so it is really easy to get uses out of these 2 things together. So I do think I did a good job in choosing these as a combo together. And now for the product that is an empty, finally. It is from my Hourglass 6-pan palette, and it is the bronzer. We have completely used it up. So yeah, it's gone. And as you can see, we're making progress on some other powders in here too, just naturally, because my goal for the year is to use up this palette completely. So we are well on our way. I feel like for those first 4 or 5 months of the year, I was feeling really kind of not disappointed, but just like we weren't seeing as much progress, and it was getting to the point where I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to use up all 6 of these powders if I've barely made a dent in one by summer. But it's just all of a sudden, it just really picked up. And so actually, I'm just going to keep this palette in the project. And now that I've used up the true bronzer shade, and I feel like I'm making good, like organic, natural use out of the finishing powder and the blush right here, I'm going to focus on using this darker highlight. I think right now, with it still being kind of summer and warm outside, it has been working really well to use this mixed into the powder bronzer that I have been using in my everyday makeup drawer that I picked in my Shop My Stash. So I will link that playlist below if you want to see the other bronzers I've been using along the way. But I think mixing this with those just makes it more of a glowy bronzer, and it's a way to get some use out of this without it just being a straight up highlighter. It's a little too dark for me to use as a highlighter. But this shade in the palette is, so this I think is supposed to be the Glistening Strobe powder. So yeah, it's just a little too dark to use straight up as a highlighter for me. So I think mixing it with the bronzer is going to be a way for me to get some use out of it and hopefully hit pan on it, because I use bronzer pretty much every day. So, oh, and to use up the Hourglass bronzer, I had to use it 22 times in July to finally finish it up. So that is exciting. So let's now move to the eyeshadows. This is always exciting, and just like the makeup products, I did hit pan in a shadow this month too, so we're going to be able to roll one in, which is always super fun. So let's start with some of the new ones that I had rolled in last time. The first one comes from the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, and it was this shade down in the corner called Wit. The palette actually goes this way, but I don't want to blind you with the mirror. This shade called Wit, and it has been super nice to use as a crease shade, so that has been actually pretty perfect. It's just that nice peachy shade. So I mean, I've got it in my crease now. I feel like it's subtle, but it's also something a little different than just being like a brown crease shade, so I've been really enjoying that. And then from, oh, and I should say how many times I used these all. So that Wit I used 18 times in July. The next shade comes from the ABH Sultry palette, and it is this shade Cyborg, the silver shade, which is super intimidating, but I feel like I have been making some pretty good progress on this, and it has been working nicely as kind of a middle of the eyelid shade. So I don't know if I kind of show a little bit more. You can definitely see the usage going on in there. There's definitely a dip in the middle. So I feel like I actually will hit pan on that sooner rather than later. But there's that. So already together, those look pretty good together. Next shade, which I think I also rolled in last month or the month before, so it hasn't been in that long, is from the Coastal Alter Ego palette. And it is this shade Glow down here, which has been a little difficult to use just because it's kind of more of a topper shade, and I feel like the color payoff, it's just a lot more subtle, which is fine, but it looks really good with these. So I've actually been using this as kind of my inner corner highlight, and then like a little bit up, I'll bring it up a little bit in the inner corner of the lid and the crease. So that's been a really great way to use that, because again, so far the color story that I randomly rolled has been working really well together. And then the other, let's see, the fourth palette that I had been using was my Profusion Mauves palette, and the shade that I rolled in was Kindly, this shade up here. So it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but when I tip it more where you can see the sides, I feel like you can definitely tell that there is more side pan going on in there than the others. And mostly I have been using this as a blush. And so that's one of my favorite things about this palette, is everything in here can be either an eyeshadow, a blush, a face highlight, anything like that, blush topper. So it's a good way to kind of get more use out of it. So far I've been using it as a blush. It's a nice neutral color. I'm wearing it today, and it's just another way to get use out of it when I felt like with with the Wit shade down here from that Natasha Denona palette, I kind of was feeling like these are maybe, they're not super similar. The Profusion one is definitely more pink, but I guess I was just feeling like that's a lot to be putting on the eye. You know, if I'm already using Wit as the crease shade, like what am I really gonna do with this color? I can't really deepen the outer corner with that because they're so similar. So it's really worked out that I've been able to use this as a blush. Oh, and all of these I used 14 times in July, except for Wit, which I used 18. So now for the shade that I finally hit pan on. It comes from my Natasha Denona Mini Sunset palette, and it was this shade right on the end, Halo. And this I was using as my all over lid shade. I am still wearing it today with the Cyborg shade in the middle, which was really great. So that was really nice to use. And I really do like Natasha Denona shadows. They also kind of have that cream to powder formula, and they're just very soft, very buttery. I feel like the color payoff was there on this one with the shimmer. So I really enjoyed that, but it is also super exciting to be able to roll in a new shade. So I will put on the screen me using my randomizer app, and I put in all of the eligible eyeshadows in my spreadsheet. It is 192 eyeshadows that are eligible to be in this project. So I rolled it, and kind of funnily enough, I picked shade 3, which on my spreadsheet corresponds to my ABH Modern Renaissance palette, which I love this palette. And it is this shade up here, Golden Ochre. So kind of this more mustardy shade. So I am a little worried about seeing this together with the shades that we've already chosen. Put it down here. I mean, it definitely still can work together. Like, I feel like those all still go together. I just feel like I'm going to struggle a little bit with how to use so many matte type shades. Like maybe this will become more my crease shade and this can be outer corner. I don't know. We'll have to kind of experiment and see how we go. I do still think they all go together. And of course, there's no rule saying I have to wear all 5 shadows every single day that I wear shadow. I obviously don't do that. I had been just doing Wit in the crease a couple days here and there when I just wanted something super quick, but we'll just have to see how that goes. But again, not a horrible color story to be working with. Everything kind of complements each other, so makes it a lot easier. Could be worse. So that is pretty exciting to me. It's always fun to have hit pan in another eyeshadow. And just for like an update of all my eligible shadows, like I said, there was 190, well, total of the ones I've already hit pan on too. Everything that was in this project originally, it's 198 shadows. And so far I have pan on 6, which is quite low. So that's about a 3% pan percentage. I'd really like to see that number get more close to like 7, 8 by the end of the year. So we will just keep going with the project and hopefully be hitting more pans as time goes on and I get more consistent use out of them across all my palettes. So that is it for this month's update. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. That really helps me out. Leave me a comment below letting me know what kind of makeup you are looking forward to for fall. I definitely feel like the transition is coming. We're still in those summer months. Like I said, I will post my Shop My Stash video from last week or the week before where I still picked a lot of summer glowy things, but I think the next time around we'll be transitioning into more of those fall, maybe more like this golden ochre will be the vibe. I don't know. So just leave me a comment below and let me know what you're excited about makeup-wise for fall. Please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you're updated of all of my upcoming videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.